Welcome back to the channel, guys. This is another canning video. This is actually kind of more of an update to a canning video. And this video was inspired by a comment I got this morning from one of my canning videos that I posted a couple days ago. The comment came from Lady Hammer. It was an awesome question in the comments, and one that needs to be addressed, and I will address it right now. She asked me why I don't have my rings on my jars that I've canned. No rings. And the reason why is in all my research and everything I've done, and I've tested it, and it actually, to me, it's true, and it's it's a very good reason why you don't, is that when after the only purpose this thing serves is to keep this lid down during the canning process, so it stays in place, so it gets sucked. It keeps it from going left and right and flying off. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a two-piece lid. It would be a one-piece lid, okay? This is not needed after your stuff has been canned. And it's a good thing not to store them with this lid on there, because what can happen is it can create something called a false seal. If for some reason your product loses its seal and this lid's still on here and it's holding pressure, it will make it do this weird thing that has actually happened to me when I bought a couple of cases of brand new jars. I brought them home, and I want to think it was in like November, December, when it was kind of cold outside, and they were in the car probably 10-15 minutes, and I got home, brought them inside, set them on the kitchen table, and then for the next, I don't know, 20 minutes or so, there was a couple of them in the case, and they kept popping and unpopping. They kept sealing and unsealing, sealing and unsealing. And the only thing I can assume, it was either from the temperature variation from outside in November to being inside a warm house, and possibly a combination of that and the tight cellophane wrapping, the plastic wrap that's on here, that was holding it down, and the temperature was making it pop and reseal, pop and reseal. It's called a false seal. And if you have this screwed down tight on your product in storage and the seal pops, this may cause a false seal where it doesn't actually pop all the way, but it is letting air get in, which is spoiling your food and could cause botulism and like make everybody sick and maybe even eventually kill somebody. So it's a good idea not to store your product with the rings on. That way, if you lose a seal, it's obvious that you lost the seal and you know to discard the product. Now, that being said, there is one time that I use these after they've been canned, and I learned this from Alaska Prepper, I do believe, Rudy. I'm not 1,000% sure it was one of his canning videos, but I watch a lot of his canning videos, and I'm pretty sure he's the one that told me this. And I actually used it when I moved up here from Florida. And what you do, like obviously when you don't have a ring on it, in storage, you don't ever want to stack these more than 2 boxes high. And you always want to make sure they're in their box. You never want to go more than 2 cases high, because you don't want all that uneven pressure. Because if you've got uneven pressure on one side of this, you could force one side up and cause it to lose a seal. But what Rudy told me, and I did it, because I'm not going to tell you how many jars I transported from Florida, but you guys have been listening to me talk for a while, so it was more than 5 jars, and it was less than 5,000. Okay, but what Rudy told me to do, which was really awesome, and I brought them up here in the U-Haul truck, so they were bouncing around, and there was cases upon cases, way more than 2 high. He said to take your ring, put it on, tighten it down, and then back it off about 3/4 of a turn, like that, to where you can stack multiple boxes on top of this, and all the weight from above it, it's not touching the lid. All the weight is being caught, and it's being carried by the threads on the jar. And that is an ingenious way to do it. I thought that is really smart, because I was just going to crank the lids down and hope for the best. But I did it Rudy's way. I tightened them all the way down, and then I backed them off to where I could see a good, I don't know if you can see that, but there's probably a good 1/4 inch gap. And then I stacked case upon case, and I had these lids like that. And my hand to God, okay, up, I lost 1 jar transporting them. And let me tell you something. When I moved from Florida, I drove almost can't remember, it's 12 hours to get where I was going to buy my new house. The deal fell through on the house. So then I had to drive the U-Haul to a public storage place, unload everything in public storage for 30 days while I found the new house and did a quick close on it, which is this house I'm in here now. Once we closed on this house, 30 days later, I drove back to the city these were stored in, an hour and a half away, loaded them back on another U-Haul truck, and then drove them here, and then unloaded them and rolled them in the back steps on the hand truck into the basement and unloaded them, and I lost one jar. One. And I saw it as soon as I was unloading on the truck, and the seal had popped. And I'm here to tell you that that was amazing, because I full on expected to lose a quarter, if not a third of my food storage jar stuff. I fully expected to lose some, and I followed Rudy's advice with putting it yay tight, and I didn't lose any. Now, I could have maybe I could have tightened them all down and not lost any. Maybe I could have left them off and stacked them and not lost any. But why take a chance? I mean, it makes sense. It's scientifically, it's sound. If you're transferring all the weight to the jar instead of the lid, then you're not going to mess with your seal. So that's why you don't store your jars with the seal on it. Another thing I want to touch on real quick is a video I did about canning milk, and I was talking about canning butter. Okay, canning milk is not approved by the FDA or anybody. They say that it's not safe and it's not approved. I do it. I choose to do it. If you choose to do it yourself, that's on you. It's not on me, and it's not on the FDA. I suggest you just do a small batch, let it sit, test it, see if you like it, see if it's worth it to you. It's worth it to me because I love, these are potatoes. I can potatoes too, by the way, a shitload of them. I love making mashed potatoes with it. I just dump this in a strainer and then dump the potatoes in a pot, and I add a jar of my canned milk, a little bit of butter, mash them up, heat them up, and the mashed potatoes are insanely amazing. That canned milk makes them so thick and so rich. And I also use the canned milk for my macaroni and cheese and any kind of baking, any cakes or brownies or stuff. They just make it taste so much better, especially the macaroni and cheese. Using the canned condensed milk on macaroni and cheese is awesome. But yeah, I do potatoes too, by the way. They're awesome. They're very, very easy to do. And the potatoes, if I'm not mistaken, you may want to Google it. I'm pretty sure they only have to process for 45 minutes. I may be wrong. And it's not like I'm stupid and I just forget. I just have so many things processed so many different ways. I forget which one's what. But yeah, if you choose to do the canned milk, you know, obviously it's not approved by the FDA, so that's on you. That's a risk that you take. I do it. I haven't had any issues with it. You people have seen me drink it. It is what it is. All right, but that's going to be the end of this video. That explains the importance of these rings. Thank you very much, Lady Hammer, for that question in the comments. That was awesome and very, very important. And also remember, milk and butter, if you're going to can those, since they are not approved, then the liability is on you. Just, you know, there's several different recipes. Just pick the one you want to do. Give it a shot. If you like it, rock and roll. If you don't do it. And there's always powdered milk. You guys have a great one. I'll talk to you later.